Hello. Alright, that made the spike. Jesus Christ. Hello. It is I, Papa Steam, bringing you another episode of The Writer's Room. Now, I know you heard on the last episode of the podcast that I will be on hiatus. Don't worry, I will be. I'm going to explain a little bit before I do this video. But this is the last video I'm doing for a bit. I am moving. I'm starting my own personal content thing as well. I will still be writing for the sauna while I am gone. So I'll still be writing content for helping pay-per-view reviews and podcast agendas and everything. But I need to move. I need to set up my own HQ and my own stream. If you would like to come see the stream sometime, starting in August, go to twitch.tv/thesteamdream. I'll put it up here somewhere above my face right now, because I'm the one editing this. But, yep, and then I'll be working on some of the behind-the-scenes action while Stell and Eric run the sauna for a bit. And in August, you will see my beautiful face after this again. But I had one more writer's room that I wanted to rebook, and today we are talking about Erick Rowan and his cage. This was stupid just from the beginning. I'm just going to be completely honest. I thought this storyline was dumb as shit. But I love me a challenge, as you can see from my previous two episodes, which, if you haven't seen them, first of all, what are you doing? Second of all, go ahead and check them out on the playlist, The Writer's Room, at youtube.com/theshootstylesauna. You can hear me rebook EC3 and NXT and King Billy Gunn, both of which were kind of difficult, like this one. So, let's talk about what really happened first. Starting in November of 2019, Erick Rowan came down in this attire, as we see on the screen, and he had this cage with a burlap sack over it, right? He started bringing the cover cage to ringside as he just beat the hell out of jobbers. He had one just look in it and scream. He put his hand in it, and his hand started bleeding for months and months, leading, I think, up until Mania. Everyone was like, well, what's in the cage? What could possibly be in it that would help Erick Rowan's career out in the slightest? Right? You're probably wondering the same thing. Nothing happened with it. For months on end, he just kept beating up jobbers. And then Vince gave up on the storyline and said, you know what? Let's just make it a big cartoon spider. So you saw him play with a giant, clearly fake spider, like stupidly fake. Put it in the cage, and then, and I think Erick Rowan got released. I actually don't know that for certain. I'll probably look that up and put that here. So, let's let the Papa take a shot. Now, there's one of two ways I could go with this. You can either not do the cage thing, or at least try to make it somewhat serious, which I'm not going to do, really. Kinda. I'm not gonna get rid of the cage. If you want to have the cage thing, and you want to have an animal inside it, fine. But it has to make sense within the confines. Let me explain. So, we're going to start where this kind of, a little later in the story, we're going to start right after Survivor Series, right? Erick Rowan comes out. He's not going to come out in this attire that he's wearing, because he did that all the way back to when he was helping Daniel Bryan at Royal Rumble 2019. We're not going to do that, because he had that thing with when Luke Harper came back, and then he was kind of like on his own. So, right after Survivor Series, the Raw after Survivor Series, let's give him a whole new look. Kind of like, similar to his Bludgeon Brother work, but kind of just like that menacing look, right? He'll bring the cage out. It's one of those like just squash matches, that's fine. Beats him about 15 seconds, and he does the claw thing, slam, 1, 2, 3. After the match, he keeps wailing on him. As he's wailing, he looks at the cage that's on the ring steps, like nods to it almost, and just keeps wailing on it. And this happens every week for a while, until the go-home show before TLC. Go-home show, there's a backstage segment where Rowan is standing next to the cage, and he's in his own world right now. And Humberto Carrillo decides to find him backstage, and he starts asking about it. He's like, what do you got going on? Erick Rowan is stoic and silent. Remember that. He does, if possible, I would have Erick Rowan not say anything for a lot of this bit. So, shows that inside the cage, like so the cameras can't see. Carrillo looks very confused, and he questions it. And when he questions it, Erick Rowan grabs a chair and just wails on him. He beats the shit out of him within an inch of his life backstage. Enough where security has to drag him off. You can clearly see the much more aggressive side of Erick Rowan. So this leads to a match at the TLC pre-show. It is Erick Rowan versus Humberto Carrillo. If I remember, I'm actually going to take a quick break. I will make sure to edit this out. I believe at TLC, Humberto was already in a match. He was against Andrade. Let's not have him do that, because that was silly. Erick Rowan, Humberto Carrillo on the pre-show. It's a squash match. Erick Rowan batters him in, I'd say, 4 minutes. After the match, he wins with the claw slam thing. We got that? Cool. After the match, drags Humberto to the middle of the ring, and he spreads him out. Kind of like arms out, legs out, just completely sprawls him out. Lays down next to him, whispers something that the camera can't quite catch, and he just, like, shuffles his way out. One would say he almost slithers his way out. Let's hold on to that piece of information. So, on Raw, for the next 2 weeks, backstage and commentators are really playing up the cage. They're trying to figure out, like, what's inside. You can have any superstar that has, like, one of their, like, talk show things, have a segment with Rowan, if you want. Fine. The cage needs to be the most important thing right now. While this is happening, there's a segment with Humberto Carrillo still fairly, bandaged up, and he's hurt from TLC. And Rowan finds him, and he shoves him into a garage door. Just pounces him, injuring him. And this like backstage segment continues for a while. So he'll find either developmental talent or whoever backstage, and he'll just like watch them, almost like predatorial. Let's keep that in mind as well. And just wails on him, just starts beating the shit out of him. Enough where general manager at the time, Stephanie McMahon, calls him into her office, says the cage is a danger. It is causing problems with wrestlers, it is causing a problem with management, and it is causing a problem with yourself. Erick Rowan, completely stoic, he says nothing, but he just like gets eye to eye with her, almost to intimidate her. She says, look, you can either reveal what's inside your cage that's freaking everyone out, or you will be suspended without pay. While this is going on, he is getting wins weekly, and he is still leaving his opponents spread out in the middle of the ring. Now, commentators can do one of two things here. They can either make the obvious Orton comparisons, or not. I'm fine with either way. But Humberto, still hurt, finds Erick Rowan backstage and asks for a match at the Royal Rumble, #1 contenders match for the United States title that is currently held by Andrade. And Stephanie adds that if Erick Rowan loses, he must reveal what's inside the cage. So, Royal Rumble pre-show, Erick Rowan versus Humberto Carrillo, #1 contender for the United States title. If Rowan loses, cage is unveiled. You're probably asking, who is Andrade defending the U.S. title against at Royal Rumble? Because we know at the Royal Rumble 2020, he defended on the pre-show against Humberto. Instead, I would have him defend against Ricochet for one of 2 reasons. 1, could you imagine? But 2, if you are to make something there, even for like a short storyline, you can play up how they never interact in NXT. And kind of like the comparisons that they draw as Latin wrestlers. Andrade, who is very charismatic, and you can bring up Ricochet's work in Lucha Underground. That would be fun. And put that on the main show, please. Anyways, this is actually a lot better of a match because Humberto kind of needs it at this point. And it looks like he's about to get the win. And he sets up for one of those suicide dives he does. As he does that, Erick Rowan has grabbed a chair, and as he's jumping out, he bashes it against the head of Humberto for a DQ loss. Now, you're probably wondering, why are you ruining Erick Rowan? I'm not. There's a story reason. Humberto is absolutely bloodied by this. He is hammered. He is brought up to the middle of the ring. He's spread out again. Erick Rowan grabs the cage from the ring steps, takes the burlap top off, and it is a giant cobra. Or, as some may call it, a viper. Lays it on top of Humberto, whispers into his ear. As he's doing that, security guards are rushing. They're rushing the ring. Rowan lays out a few. He lays out about 3, 4, maybe even 5, and then he books it out. Also in the night, in the Royal Rumble, number 25 is Randy Orton. He can have his cool rated RKO moment, that's fine, whatever. During that moment, Erick Rowan sneaks into the ring, hits the claw slam, eliminates Orton, and then leaves, planting the seeds. So next night on Raw, Orton he's pretty pissed. Comes out, he's demanding Erick Rowan show himself. Erick Rowan, while Orton is giving a promo, sneaks into the ring, grabs him and chokes him out, and books it. Rowan is starting to beat Orton at his own game, and that's the bit here. Orton increasingly losing his mind, which is the best Randy Orton, and Erick Rowan just kind of like skulking around, finding ways to strike without being caught. One week they finally stand across from each other, and Orton asks, what the hell's your problem? Erick Rowan kind of cracks his neck, looks into Orton's eyes, and points to the Tron when they were tag champions, when they were all reunited a couple years ago with Luke Harper, and when Orton betrayed Bray Wyatt. Rowan, constantly now backstage, since the cage has been revealed, he always has the Cobra with him. He keeps that snake with him. He talks to it all the time, and whenever he's interviewed, though, he's still stoic, and it's this silent intimidation. On Raw, Erick Rowan wins the number 1 contenders match against Andrade for the U.S. title. Has that match. It's actually really good. Andrade does really well against people that have raw power and intimidation. Sells it like a madman. But during the match, Orton costs Rowan the United States title shot, and Andrade retains. Finally gets his hands on Rowan that night, and they both have to be separated by security, and they cannot be allowed to be taken, to each other right now. Stephanie McMahon announces that at Super Showdown, yes, I'm going to include a Saudi show in this because fuck you, it's my booking. They can go at each other, but it cannot be one-on-one because they're afraid that they don't want to cause problems overseas. So they said, we're going to make a tag match. You can each choose one partner of your choosing. And if anything rough happens, there will be enough security to solve it. Hopefully. And enough talent. So Super Showdown, Erick Rowan picks AJ Styles. He's got the rest of the OC there to kind of like back them up. And Randy Orton picks Edge. And it's a great rated RKO moment. Whatever. Look, I'll be honest. The Saudi show, it's for the feel good moment. Whatever. Plus, it'll subtly set up Edge versus AJ Styles. Hold on to that for a second. Anyways, the match ends in DQ in a DQ because Orton can't contain himself. He just starts wailing on Erick Rowan and goes past the ref's count of 5, and he can't be stopped right now. So Edge gets mad. Orton RKOs Edge, and for the shit of it, yeah, you can give AJ Styles an RKO. Why the fuck not? So this is when Orton really starts to lose it. On the next Raw, he is banned from the arena. Stephanie says, I don't want to risk it. We can't have you here. So that night, Rowan faces Angel Garza. And he has the Cobra in the corner, and he has now unlocked something. Because Erick Rowan, when he was with the Wyatt family, let's be real, Erick Rowan was the weakest one out of the whole group. I absolutely just topped right there. Erick Rowan was always seen as the weakest, right? So now he's being a lot more reckless, a lot more aggressive, that his match with Angel Garza is just thrown out completely. He chokes out Garza to the point that he needs to be carried to the back, and Rosa attacks Garza on his way out, giving this huge heel heat. Now, I know you're also asking why there's so many DQ finishes. The whole point of this character is he has now become very unhinged, very reckless. So let's work with that, right? So there's a backstage meeting set a couple weeks later between Randy Orton and Erick Rowan. There's security. You can send in like SWAT team. You can send in wrestlers just to protect them, protect the scene right now. Stephanie says at Elimination Chamber is going to be Erick Rowan versus Randy Orton. Classic wrestling match. And if anyone is disqualified, there will be monetary discipline. You'll pay a fine, and you will leave Raw. During the segment, Randy Orton tries to, play mind games as he does. He grabs the cage from Erick Rowan. Rowan snatches it away and just gets right into his face, like he's about to freak out. But he stops, he breathes, and he just kind of stares at him. Weird. Go home Raw. Each man has a match. Erick Rowan batters through, let's say, like R-Truth or something. Someone that he rampages through him. Randy Orton has a match with Luke Gallows because he wants to prepare for a man of Rowan's size. So at Elimination Chamber, it is Erick Rowan one-on-one with Randall Keith Orton. And they go at each other. It's actually a really good match. I would give this match probably about 15 minutes. You really play up the power that Rowan has and the mind games that they both have. But at the end, Erick Rowan definitively chokes out Randy Orton, and Orton passes out. He spreads out Randy Orton, grabs the Cobra. But as he does that, the lights go out, and when they come back, Randy Orton has disappeared. Now, at this point in the year, this is when Corona happened. COVID-19 happens. We're just going to pretend that it fucking didn't. Okay? Okay. Next night on Raw, Erick Rowan earns a number one contenders match for the U.S. title against Buddy Murphy. He's like, finally, he wins. It's a very hard hitting. And next week, he gets that title match against Andrade. During the match, as he's being reckless and aggressive, he's also trying to cheat his way through. So he's trying to find weapons and just straight up just try and batter his way. But while he does that, out comes Angel Garza, Humberto Carrillo, to try to defend Andrade and attack Erick Rowan. Almost as if Humberto should have just joined Andrade. Just saying. They get their moments, whatever. We haven't seen Orton in a while, but this is when Orton shows up. He returns, RKO's Erick Rowan, books it out of the ring, and Andrade retains. This, if you're going to have Erick Rowan talk at all, it would be right now. The following week, grabs his Cobra, puts it in his lap, sits in the middle of the ring, and just says, Randy, get over here. Not like Scorpion, but like you get my point. Lights go out. When they come back on, the Cobra is gone, and Erick Rowan starts to just like panic a little bit. He is really, it's not even like an angry panic. He's almost scared because he doesn't have the Cobra with him. On the Tron, Orton is standing with the Cobra, and it's around his neck, but like in a friendly way, almost as if he's tamed it. Looks at Erick Rowan as he's just petting the Cobra. Almost no words are being exchanged. Then, as he's looking at Rowan, Randy Orton just says, last man standing. Erick Rowan rushes to the back. When he gets there, the Cobra is next to a bat with barbed wire, like from Orton's feud with Cactus Jack. So leading up to WrestleMania at this point, WrestleMania 36, there's video packages of both men and their most intimidating point. So Erick Rowan when he was Wyatt's sheep and he would batter people, and Orton's career as the Legend Killer. So this leads to WrestleMania 36, Erick Rowan versus Randy Orton, last man standing. Also on the night, you're probably wondering, because it was Randy Orton versus Edge in real life. What is Edge doing? Edge is facing AJ Styles one-on-one. Then you're probably wondering, what is The Undertaker doing? The Undertaker is facing The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Because could you imagine? And then you're probably, no, I'm not going to do what John Cena's doing. John Cena shouldn't have been at the fucking show. I'm just saying. The match is chaotic. Because it's the last man standing match, you can allow these guys to go at each other, fast-paced, full speed. Orton brings back the punt kick. Rowan is hitting a double chokeslam to the outside. There's barbed wire bats. Erick Rowan managed to hit a Sister Abigail to show from Bray Wyatt. The match goes around the ring. Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo come out and try to attack Rowan, but Rowan goes right through them. Orton hits an RKO to a 9 count. Erick Rowan just manages to get back up. Finally grabs Orton. Claw slams him from the apron to the outside through the announce table. He just slams him down to the count of 10. And Erick Rowan is the last man standing. And he can now be that terror in the mid-card. Or even you can push him to the main event now as this scary monster. Orton can do the edge work because he RKO'd him at Super Showdown. Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo can now can form a group with Andrade. And yeah. And that is how I would book Erick Rowan's cage. It was a stupid idea at the beginning, but now everything is lined up. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what I should book next. Or go ahead and tweet me at Tim_the3count. Make sure to subscribe to youtube.com/theshootstylesauna. If you want to see what I'm doing after my hiatus, go to youtube.com/steamdream. And if you like video games played by me or any of my friends, or if you like Dungeons and Dragons, go to twitch.tv/thesteamdream, where I'm doing a ton of that stuff, starting in August. But until then, this is the Ice Papa Steam. Close the doors of the sauna. I'll see you all in a month.